Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Riley, and I'm just going to be doing a progress update video today. It's been about 2 weeks, so yeah, let's get started. So I have two finished objects. Well, one is like partially finished, one is just like all the way finished. So I'll start with the completely finished one, which is my step-by-step sweater. I'm so happy with how it turned out. I might try blocking it again because I do think the sleeves are still like a little bit short, and you can see there's like a crease just from when I blocked it the first time, but that kind of lines up with my arm when I wear it, so I don't think it's that big of a deal. But yeah, I love the color. I had it done in time for Valentine's Day, so I wore it then. And yeah, honestly, it was such a good experience. It was really helpful to have the video tutorial to go along with the pattern, just as like a first time knitting any kind of garment. I think it was really helpful for just being able to see how the techniques worked. So yes, it was the step-by-step sweater by Handmade by Florence. So she's got a free pattern and then the tutorial video on her YouTube channel. So highly recommend. It's just like very simple top-down raglan. I really like the details on it, like super straightforward sweater. I like cropped it a little bit, and so I ended up having some yarn left over, which I'll talk about in a bit. But yeah, I was so happy with how this turned out. It's very cozy, and yeah, I think it was a really awesome first sweater to make. And oh yeah, and the yarn that I used for it was Drops Nepal in Blush. I got 10 balls and ended up with 2 and a bit left over just because I like cropped it. I probably should have like knitted the sleeves a little longer, but I think I'll be able to block them and stretch them out a little bit more. And they're not like super cropped or anything. It just sits like right about here. And I tend to like when it goes past my wrist a bit, but I do think it turned out pretty well. And then the next partially finished is I finished the back panel for the second folklore cardigan. So this took me a while, I think just because it's such a big piece and it's so repetitive, you never like decrease at all. Whereas with the front panels, once you get about halfway up, you start decreasing, and so then each row just feels faster and faster. This one just takes a while and it's the same length as the front panels, and so it just feels, I don't know, kind of long and a little boring, but it's good to get it done. I'm currently working on the first sleeve. The sleeve is going much faster, and then after that all the pieces go a lot faster. So hopefully this will be done maybe by the end of February, if not early March, which is great because then it'll be done in time for a birthday at the end of March so I can give it away. But yeah, I'm following a tutorial by Crochet by Bev on YouTube. I know she has an updated cardigan tutorial, and she's made like the Speak Now cardigan. She's working on the 1989 cardigan. I think she did the red one. And honestly, I don't know what the difference is between all of them. I'm sure just like details are different. But she did an updated folklore cardigan tutorial, but I'm just following the old one because that's what I started with, and she hadn't put out the new one yet. So I didn't want to like follow part of the old one and part of the new one. But I'm really happy with how the first one turned out that I made, so I think this one will look good as well. And then yeah, I'm just using like 100% acrylic yarn for it. So nothing super fancy, but I think it's going pretty well. So I'll show you where I'm at with the sleeve. Just got it down here. So you can see I like bought 6 because I'm making 4 of the cardigan, so I bought 6 of these like huge skeins of yarn. So it's always nice when it gets down to be this size because it just makes it so much easier to bring around. But yeah, here's where we're at. So I think they're supposed to be 35 rows. I made mine a little longer though, and I think I'm gonna do that for all of them. I just add a couple extra rows, so we're almost there. I think, yeah, I should be at about 26 rows right now, so we're getting pretty close, which is nice. It's just it's a little narrower and then shorter, and so I don't know, the sleeves just seem to go way faster. Yeah, so that's sleeve number 1, and then I'll have to make another one, and then after that it's just like the cuffs and like the little lining that goes around the inside and along the bottom, but those are just really long but really narrow strips, so those don't take very long either, which is awesome. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with finished objects, and then I don't know, the cardigan's like kind of a work in progress, but you get to finish each piece, which is nice. And then my other work in progress are the Sunday socks by Petite Knit. And okay, so this is my first time ever making socks, my first time ever using Magic Loop, which was an adjustment at first, but I feel like I kind of got the hang of it now. I just watched like 7 different tutorials on YouTube to kind of get an idea of if people did it the exact same way or if there were a couple different options, and then seeing which one felt most comfortable. Yeah, the pattern is really easy to follow. It's very straightforward. It's just a 2x2 rib. One thing I will say, I picked this yarn because it was pretty inexpensive, and it isn't bad, but it is very, very scratchy. So this is the Let Lopi wool, and I mean, it's 100% Icelandic wool, but I don't know, it's, the more I touch it, like the less I like it, and I think I was just excited to be in the yarn store when I bought it and to like buy yarn in person, that I just picked it up and I was like, I'm just gonna buy it to knit a pair of socks with, and they're just gonna be for me, so if they're not fantastic, then it'll be okay. But I don't know that I'd ever use it for socks again. I think I might use it again. There's a sweater vest that I want to make later in the year, and so I might use this because it'll just be over, like I'll always be wearing it over other clothes, and so I won't feel it directly on my skin. And I do feel like I won't be as sensitive like on my ankles to the socks. And I mean, I'll see how it feels once it's done and I've blocked it and I'm actually wearing them, if I notice that it's scratchy. But at least like feeling it in my hands now, like it isn't a very soft feeling. And it's very hairy, if you can see everything sticking out there. But other than that, like it's going well. It isn't splitting or anything too much, and I do like the color. I just wanted something very simple. And I think it is a really good like practice, kind of a good experience, because it is a very hairy yarn, and it's like got a lot of grip, like it doesn't move super easy on the needles, and so I think when I use like a proper sock yarn after this, I think it'll feel like a much smoother experience. That's what I'm hoping and guessing. So I don't know, maybe this is a good place to start, because then it'll just get easier after this. But yeah, we'll see how these go once I actually wear them, and if, you know, if they're uncomfortable or if they turn out to be okay. But yeah, so that's, I'm supposed to make this 25 centimeters, and I think I'm at like 7 or 8, so this is a very slow one. Yeah, sometimes my hand cramps a little bit because I feel like I have to pull everything pretty tight in the Magic Loop, especially around the ends, like where it splits between here and at the end here. So I only do like a few rounds at a time, which is good because then I'm also more motivated to just work on the cardigan and get it done, because it's a much easier and faster project to work on. But yeah, so that's where I'm at with my socks. So I don't have any kind of deadline for these. I think they're just going to be kind of an ongoing, whenever I feel like it kind of project. But I do think it's also good just to learn how to use Magic Loop. I think that'll help me out a lot in other things I want to do. But yeah, so that's everything that I'm currently working on or have just finished. So now I'll talk about just kind of some yarn and some ideas that I have for some upcoming projects. So in here is all my leftover yarn from the Step by Step sweater. So as you can see, I have 2 full skeins and then almost an entire one that I caked up. This yarn is much softer. This is, I think it's like 65% wool and 35% alpaca. I will say it was like a little scratchier than I expected it to be after I blocked it. I don't know why, if that's like a typical thing. Also, something I didn't totally realize but does make sense is when it was wet, it smelled. And I knew that it was supposed to smell like, because it's real wool and alpaca, but it smelled weirdly like perm solution, which I feel like is a very specific smell. But I mean, once it dried, the smell went away. You can't smell anything at all. But when it's wet, it stinks a little bit. So I was very relieved when I found out that that was a very normal thing, because I looked it up. But what I'm planning to do is there's a sweater called the Pippi pullover. It's just a free pattern that I found, I think on Instagram. And it's kind of, you've got like a base color, and then you just have these kind of stripes of like an extra color. And in the original pattern, she uses kind of like a gray as the base color and then alternates between red and blue for the stripes. But I'm just going to use this pink because I really like it. It's a really nice color, and it's the right weight, and I have the right amount of it to match it. And so I'll just do the one color, and then I don't know if I want to do like a white or a gray or a beige or something in there as the base color, but that's going to be a sweater I'll make later in the year. And then the next thing we're going to be starting, because I just feel like the socks aren't enough knitting for me right now, and I want to have something a little bit bigger to work on, is I'm going to be starting the stick season sweater. And so I have this yarn that I'm going to be making it out of. And this is also wool, but it's a lot softer than the other one. I can't remember where this one's from. I think it might be Peruvian wool, but I could be very mistaken. But yeah, I think I'm gonna start that maybe even today. I've been a little intimidated just because the texture is kind of what you start with on the sweater. It's like kind of top down. And there's like a chart, and it's not even a very complicated chart, but I've never had to follow a chart before, and so I just want to make sure that I do it correctly. And it's just like knits and purls, and you just go back and forth and just make sure that you like know if you're on the right side or the wrong side, so you do the right thing. But I feel like I've just been a little intimidated to start it. So I think once I start it and get several rows in, you kind of get into the flow of it, it'll go pretty well. But yeah, I'm looking forward to starting it because I think in the end it'll look really nice. It's a really nice sweater. So yeah, I have 5 of these to make it, and that should be enough. I think I might have a little extra, but the issue is that this is an Aran weight, and I believe it calls for a DK weight. And I don't know why, but when I was in the yarn store, I thought that Aran and DK were the same. And I got it confused, I think, from a chart that I had read. And so it's a little heavier. And so I was debating going up a needle size. But some other people recommended to just use the same needle size but go up a sweater size. So I'm trying to figure out which one I want to do. But maybe I feel like I'm not a swatch kind of person. I feel like I don't have the patience for it, but maybe I need to before I go make a whole sweater and then turns out I don't like it. But maybe I'll try going up a needle size and see how the gauge is with that, and then using the normal needle size and seeing what the gauge is with that. So we'll see. Maybe I'll have to suck it up and just try a couple things and see what I like before I just commit to making a full sweater. But it's just this very nice green. I think it's called forest green. I've learned that I don't think I like super variegated yarn, or like self-striping yarn, at least in like a sweater. But I do like when there is a little bit of variation in the yarn, like just little speckles and things, just so it's not like a flat color. So I don't know, that just seems to be a theme aside from the acrylic yarn that I have. Like the blush was a mixed yarn, the sock yarn has different flecks of like white or even black in it sometimes, and so I don't know, maybe that is just what my taste is in yarn, and I'm just kind of figuring that out now. And then I do have an acquisition which has been super fun, which is a yarn winder. And I just got it off Amazon. I think it's like pretty typical one. It's like $30. And so it just sits on my desk, and I don't know, it's just really fun to use. And I've noticed it is so much easier to work on projects if I've been able to like spin the yarn into a cake and then pull from the center, because then it doesn't roll around, you don't have to adjust it. I haven't had any tangles, so that's been really great. I've been having a lot of fun with that. My husband has been sitting, because we kind of just have like a long desk, and so we just split it half and half, and so I'll sit on the one end with the winder, and he'll sit in the other with the yarn and just kind of like hold it, because I don't have a Swift and I don't have space for one, and I don't need one at all right now. But he just helps with the process, so it goes a little faster and a little smoother, which I'm very grateful for, because the first time I tried using it was with this, and this was my first time ever getting something. I can't remember if it's called like a hank or a skein, I don't remember what it's called, but where it's basically just like a really long loop, but then it's twisted up, and so you have to like unravel it, and then you end up with this big loop. And it got incredibly tangled because I just kind of laid it out on my desk and was just going, and then it started pulling and getting closer, and it was really bad. It took us like 40 minutes. So lesson learned, we'll not be doing that again. We'll approach it with a little more strategy next time. But yeah, definitely a good purchase. I think it was worth it for sure. Yeah, and I don't know, it's just kind of fun. Like, it's like a little treat every time I decide I need to like wind up a new ball of yarn. I just get to use my yarn winder. But yeah, I think that's pretty much everything I have. I am pretty excited to start the next sweater. Very happy with how the first one turned out. It's just very satisfying to be able to like go somewhere and wear something that you made yourself. Like, I wore my like my own folklore cardigan to work yesterday, and it's just kind of cool when, you know, someone says that they like what you're wearing and you get to know you like made it yourself. And so yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.